nice autocross course here, pretty short one.
And I know it's going to be real tough in this car today. Try to watch your first shift for the acceleration. You're braking 95 on the DB.
Okay.
And we got the pilot officer coming by today, so just keep an eye on it. I know it's going to be challenging.
Okay.
As smooth as you can.
Okay.
All right, cool. You guys are good to go.
All right, smooth as fast. Here we go. A little bit of understeer and push there, but just tap the brakes. This region, the rear sway bar is helping us rotate a little bit here. And here, pretty flat. Brake, and how does the car feel here? It actually grips pretty well. The additional camber up front really helps. We can maximize as much as possible the front wheel drive. A little bit of wheel spin there, just rotate, let the car rotate. And again, as fast as you can. Yeah, and this is not our fast run, but half a second off the fastest run. But we're within that ballpark. So being wet in a front wheel drive car does present some challenges, but this car has certainly come a long way in being able to rotate and being able to be quite effective. Okay. Fiesta's rotating very nicely. Very easy to rotate this car. It just helps from the rear. That's that's all software and torque vectoring on the rear. That's helping you out. Something the GTI doesn't have. But you can see how in autocross this car is so smooth to rotate around corners. And that was a very close time to what we just recorded on the GTI. Surprisingly, I mean that because of the depth of field here with some of these machines, we got an M2 competition right in front of us. We are going for second or third fastest time of the entire group, given the GTI and setup and that running super sport tires. And the cars that are beating us, all of them are running autocross slicks. Summary of the findings. So, first of all, with me driving the car, it was the GTI was very, very close to the Fiesta, and actually that's a good thing because the way that the GTI will come out of the box dynamically, because it doesn't have the torque vectoring, it doesn't have the rear actuation of the brakes when cornering that Ford does so well. It just, on a small autocross course, it wouldn't compete. So I've set up this car so that it is able to compete, and it has done so. It was 0.4 seconds faster than the Fiesta, but I got a little bit less seat time in the Fiesta, so really the cars were very similar. Now, this one needed a bunch more hardware than the Fiesta to achieve the same results. The few things that matter are this. So first of all, a quality set of coilovers that allows you to adjust camber in the front. Whether you do it by the ball joints or not, really it's quite important to be able to get a bit more camber. 2.5, 3 degrees in the front will help the front end grip when loaded up. And we're running the ST XTA coilovers, had the H&R coilovers, which were not camber adjustable and much too soft. These XTA coilovers for this particular chassis are very well set up and even from the way they come out of the box with the recommended settings. And I highly recommend them because of that, and they allow you to adjust camber in front. We have Super Pro, the ball joints at the very bottom of the control arms as well, but you can achieve similar camber ratings with just the coilovers. The second thing that made a big difference in terms of handling was the control arms. So we put the anti-lift white line rear bushings, front bushings in the control arms, gained caster, and that's immediately noticeable. So the steering livens up, the turn in it's so much sharper and so much crisper. The car wants to turn into a corner, which I felt was missing a little bit from this chassis. So I recommend doing that. Those kits on your OEM control arms, or there are some control arms out there that already have the additional caster built in. The other thing that I've done is that I've installed a rear sway bar, and it's again a white line product. In the medium setting, the car was very well balanced between under and oversteer. So with these front wheel drive cars, you want to trail brake quite a bit to just get the front end to bite, and then you want a little bit of oversteer, which the Fiesta does naturally through its electronics so well, and then you want to just pull out of the corner. The initial phase of the corner where you come in and you trail brake and then you get that little moment of oversteer is very well done with the pieces that I mentioned, the control arms, the coilovers, and also the rear sway bar. So those are the three key components to getting that dialed in. The engine side performed very well. We have an F23T turbo on this car, responsive, and one of the things that you want in autocross is to have really good throttle response, and I managed to achieve that via our tuning and spending so many hours dialing in the calibration and the car, that the throttle mapping and the way that power would come on was spot on. The areas that I would like to improve were that even with the traction control button pressed in, there is some stability control intervention there. So it happens fairly close to the limit, but it's still there, and I'd like to be able to mute that out further, or be able to just disable it for autocross events. This is a DSG car. Putting in an LSD is, it's an undertaking. It's certainly not out of the question to finish a build like this and put in a limited slip, but it could be helped out a little bit more even though. So overall, the goal was to get this car to be as playful and as good around corners as what I feel is one of the benchmarks, and that's the Fiesta ST. And the Fiesta ST always delivered now. Like I said, in my hands of both cars, I was very close to one another and very consistent. And just comparing it to the rest of the field, so out of, I believe there were somewhere around 30 cars at this autocross, I managed to place third fastest overall in a car that there were only 3 front wheel drive cars. The rest were, heavy hitters, M3s, M2s, M2 competition, Caymans, well set up E36s with an E36 turbo. So the only 2 cars that were faster were a Cayman and an E36 turbo that was, that had autocross tires on it. So given that, the performance of the car was very good. I'm more than happy. I'm very happy how the dynamics, how the engine responds with our tuning, how our chassis tuning, the parts I mentioned, how well it works, and also another interesting point here. So this car is of course running our Autox fuel kit, which was recently released. So we don't have any issues about sort of the running the bigger turbos, the bigger power, and having the additional, or having the need for the additional fuel because it's there. And now I've put so many thousands of miles on this aux fuel kit. This is why I take these vehicles and we make sure that we're as thorough as possible in our development. So anything from long distance drives, which we've done a month ago with this, to autocross, to just street driving, it just teases out the issues and any problems. Point. Make sure that at the end of the day, regardless of how you use the car, we can help you get the most out of it. So that's that for that comparison. I'm glad you guys came along. Hopefully it was interesting to you.